Good morning and welcome to Purpose Driven Finances, where our focus is helping you use your finances to achieve the purpose and plan for your life. And now here's the host of Purpose Driven Finances, Allan Molina with Serwus Capital Management.
Good morning. This is Allan Molina, your host of Purpose Driven Finances and president of Serwus Capital Management. Are you looking forward to cutting your grass? I know I'm not. I am not. Every morning I've been walking, and I'm like, please don't grow. Because I heard if you talk to plants that they listen to you. I'm just kidding, folks. I don't talk to my grass, you know. But, folks, it's great to thank you for taking the time out of your Saturday morning to listen to Purpose Driven Finances. I hope you're having a great weekend, great time. Give me a call at 434-316-0246 or go to my website, servuscm.com. Sitting here with my favorite buddy, Rich Roth. How you doing, my friend?
Hi, Allan.
I'm 3 clubs away from finishing my
set.
Yeah.
Really? Which 3?
I'm going to get a 21, 24, and 27 degree hybrid.
Okay.
And I told my client, I said, I'm going to get a bag from the 70s. You know, that
one of those pleather ones?
Pleather that's brown and white. He said, Allan, please don't. So I'm like, you know, it would just fit me. It would be funny. And so that's going well. But Rich, what I thought we would do is the flow of the show now is the beginning of the show. We talk about portfolio management.
Yep.
Second part, we talk about financial planning. And what's been exciting is my Google sends me a report every month.
Mm-hmm.
That's ticking up. It's almost double of what it was the previous month of people going to the website looking for me and things such as that. So that's great. Thank you, folks. And just to remind you that when I do a review or analyze people's portfolio, I don't charge anything simply because the name of the company is Serwus Capital Management. Serwus is Latin for servant. My goal is to serve you. And how can I earn your business if I'm nickel and diming you and trying to say, hey, you need to pay this, you need to pay that. Let's sit down and just analyze things and help you get to where you're going. But, Rich, what I wanted to do first of all is I want to congratulate folks who are listening. You know, congratulate you on a great business that you're developing.
I thought it was just for being alive.
It is. I mean, shoo-wee nowadays. I almost took the bait and went down that rabbit hole, man. I almost did. You know,
be careful.
I almost went down that rabbit hole.
Be careful.
But, you know, congratulations to you listeners who are saving. Congratulations for working hard. Congratulations for sacrificing to get where you are. And what I'm going to do is over the next 3 or 4 weeks, let's talk about if you're scared about what's going on. And there's all sorts of things that you can be scared of. And, you know, because I talk to people on a regular basis. They're like, Allan, I got burnt in 1852 or 2006 or 2000, or I don't trust the current administration. I don't trust the future administration. I'm hearing that the Republicans are going to take the Senate. That's a rabbit trail. That's crazy. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe that's why Mitch McConnell left. I don't know. But the reason I bring up all that, Rich, why you look at me like, Allan, that wasn't on your script?
I'm just wondering where you're going, man.
Yeah,
I'm wondering where you're going.
I'm trying to protect myself, but I still like those rabbit trails.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get enough rabbit trails. You know, sometimes we go 5 or 6 minutes, and I'm trying to, you know, stay within the confines of purpose-driven finances.
You've got an outline.
I've got an outline.
And I don't see the word rabbit trail.
No.
Or I don't see the word Senate in here.
Nope, exactly. You know, and so what I was thinking, folks, is this month, the rest of March, is let's talk about, hey, if you're scared. This week we're going to talk. Let's say the person is 50 years old, and we're going to deal with some of him. So the second thing I was thinking of is what causes you to be afraid? What makes you fearful?
Mm.
You know, I wrote down a few things. Political environment. You know, realistically, if I was in New York, Chicago, California, I probably would move my business because it freaks me out. I don't even want to go there. You know, and I'm not talking about upstate New York. I'm talking about New York City. You know, the cost of stuff. And the reason I say that in such eloquent terms is because the cost of stuff takes into account everything: food, cars, houses. I heard today that the average house value, I think, over the past 2 or 3 years is up 50%. I know I got my tax bill last year, and Campbell County, thank you so very much, increased the value of it like, what the heck, 50%. I'm like, this thing ain't made out of gold, baby.
Right.
I'm still looking for that oil. Maybe I need to turn it into agricultural. Put some sheep on there. My wife would
drill,
like
baby,
that.
drill.
Exactly.
Drill, baby,
Let's go.
drill.
Or what would happen if you're down in Pennsylvania County and you had uranium? You start selling that. That probably wouldn't go over very well, but probably not. But what are you scared of? Political environment, cost of stuff. I tell you one thing that concerns me that I've talked to people that they're scared of is the unbalanced scales that seem to be in America. Two-tier justice system. It freaks people out. I tell you, it concerns me about this radio show because people in Lynchburg listen to it. I told Rich that a radio station up in Chicago contacted me, and besides, I don't really want to go to Chicago and get clients. The other part is I'm conservative, and I can't imagine.
Yeah, how would the show go over?
I don't think it would go over very well in Chicago.
Yeah. You and your boy Barack.
Right, exactly. I don't know how that would go. I don't know. I have friends that are Democrats. I have friends that are, Republican right. I have moderates. But the key there is, what's happening. Also, are you scared of the spending by the U.S. government? They're looking at doing, probably this year another $1.9 trillion in deficit spending. It doesn't really freak me out for me. It freaks me more out for my kids and my grandkids and my great grandkids. Because Rich, I don't know if I've told you, but I'm praying to live to 120.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I love life.
It's a big number.
It's a big number. So hopefully, Pam will have some those tinctures and those rubs and those things made from plants that will help elongate my life.
Godspeed.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many things that people are scared of. Anything you're scared of, Rich, or maybe not you personally, because sometimes that's too personal.
Well, I mean,
what things that you've heard?
Yeah, well, no, I mean, and it's starting hitting close to home, right? The immigration issues. I mean, the poor girl down in Georgia, and then we're hearing about things in Northern Virginia, and I mean, it's crazy.
Campbell County. And then 2 days ago, there was one over here in Forest. Wow. The guy came from Ohio with the girl, and they busted him in Forest. An illegal immigrant.
Scary. That's scary to me.
It is. It is.
Like, I mean, I've never been a gun guy. Not that I was against them, but it just never had one. Never needed one. Never felt scared for, but now I'm sitting there going, you know what?
Exactly. My wife was so concerned the other day that she said, Allan, I don't want to do any more renovations on the house. Yeah, we just built a house, but we're talking about, we've never put a backsplash in because we can't figure out what we want. She's like, Allan, don't get any more backsplash until you get enough stuff to where our family's protected. I thought that was rather interesting, coming from my wife.
And how crazy is it that that's the world we live in now, where we sit there and it's like, I mean, people growing their own food or, stockpiling stuff, the weapons, the protection at home. I mean.
Yeah. Because I routinely talk to people and we talk about gold. There's advertisers on WLNI about gold.
Yeah.
And they will say, what good is gold if there's no power? Or what good is gold if, and I will bring it up, if you need food?
Yeah, you can't eat it.
Right. And it might work if you throw it at somebody, but you just get a rock. It's a lot cheaper. And so, there's a lot of fears out there. So the third point is you can't live by your fears. Rich, have you ever heard the phrase live by faith, not by sight?
I have not heard that.
Okay. It's really, it's a biblical principle. that there is a God that loves you and I, and he has a good plan for us. That's really where it comes from.
Okay.
It doesn't come from, anywhere else, but that's really where it comes from. But here's the key. The application is fear of what might happen is often greater than what the fear of what will happen.
Yeah, I've heard a similar saying, the anticipation of pain is worse than the actual pain itself.
A lot of times it is.
Like I mean, you're just, oh my God, he's going to hit me. It's going to hurt. And then
Right.
you get hit and it doesn't hurt nearly as much. Same type of thing, I think. Right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And so what happens in this day and age is you get worked up in stress and fear. And in social media, you hear the worst case scenario. And you hear this, you hear that. And the climate crisis. I'm not going to go down that rabbit trail very far. But the issue is who to believe, who to trust. And you get so worked up about what might happen rather than what will happen. Because you know what? I still have the paint, from acid rain remember back in the 70s? It's amazing our cars didn't melt. It's amazing. They're still here. But example, do you like, I don't think you like going hiking, do you?
I'm not a big hiker.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I've actually run up the peaks of Otter before.
Wow.
And ran down. That's when I was in a little better shape, doing the Spartan races. I'd
normally ask why, but I know you too well.
Yeah. Maybe, one card short of a 52 deck or something.
No, you're just into that. The whole Spartan race and all that.
Exactly.
I mean, that's your thing.
Yeah.
It's your thing. It's not normal, but it's your thing.
Exactly. But here's the deal. If you're going to go up peaks of Otter, you need hiking boots, maybe a walking stick. You dress in layers, water. I suggest no peanut butter.
Why?
Bears.
Okay.
They like it. I was going through Cades Cove in I think Tennessee, and they're like, yeah, some campers took some peanut butter jelly sandwiches in their backpack. They didn't make it out. So I'm like,
the sandwiches or the hikers?
The hikers.
Wow.
Yeah, the black bears really wanted their sandwiches. So
wow.
You got to be careful. But here's the deal. Sometimes people are so scared of a rattlesnake that it inhibits them from doing things they enjoy, like the Peaks of Otter. There is a place up on up the Parkway, Devil's Backbone, I think. Not Marble Yard, but I think the Backbone. And it's known for rattlesnakes. We got there the first time, and they're like, just watch out for baby rattlesnakes. Just move them out of the way, and they won't bother you. Thanks.
Just move them out of the way.
Yeah, just baby. I'm like, okay, thanks. But here's the deal. If the fear of rattlesnakes, it's manageable because we know how to limit the risk. And don't lift any logs. Don't go out there or go in any rocky crevices and things like that. You say, Allan, what does this really mean? Rich, you're almost right. We had 6 minutes in this segment to go. But fear over money and investments has greater downside than hiding it away. What I mean by that is, let's say you have $500,000. You're 50 years old.
Okay.
And you're scared of the market. You're scared of the government. You're scared of gold. You're scared of a past decision. You're scared. So what do? And the key there is to choose. And so what do? So what you do is you choose the most conservative investment, and then you're fearful you won't have enough money. So you're like, all kinds of phrases come to my mind from my childhood that are not appropriate for radio. It's like, no matter what decision you make, you're fearful and you're racked in fear. I don't know if you've ever been really locked in fear. Mm-hmm. I have been. Like when I got hit by the dump truck, I was fearful of getting a cervical fusion because I heard all these horror stories and I'd be a robot and all this other stuff. And I went through group therapy. It didn't really help besides that. I probably need some more. But they took me through the process and calmed my fears and realized, it wasn't that bad of a thing. So my suggestion is, rather than be fearful of what may happen and then fearful that you don't have enough, is look at some investments that can give you greater return but also some safety. Look at T-bills. I pulled them up on Thursday, and they were, a 3-month T-bill is 5.4%. 9-month is 5%. That's pretty good risk-free. If you have some cash laying around, whether it's $1,000 or $1 million or $10 million or $1 billion, call me up. We can get that put into treasuries, and sometimes the fee is zero. Sometimes it's very minimal. Also, I would look at long-term bonds. Once the Federal Reserve starts communicating that they're going to lower interest rates, long-term bonds are going to run. I don't know if you remember, Rich, I think in October last year, I think it was October, I said get into some bonds, I think around October 16th. And my clients, we got into longer-term bonds for a period. I think we made 12% in like 6 weeks. That's pretty good on that short, that small portion of your investments. Another thing is look at doing 10 to 30% of your stocks, of your portfolio in stocks. I'm not going to get into the weeds, but modern portfolio theory, a guy won the Nobel Prize in economics for it back in 1992. It had a 30-70 portfolio has the greatest risk to reward ratio.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
30% stocks, 70% bonds.
Yeah, safety to risk to reward.
Right, risk to reward.
It has the best numbers.
Wow.
It doesn't mean that it's the best. It's just combining those two things.
The ratio, gotcha.
Right. And so, here's what you have to do. You have to have a process about getting out of your investments when they start going down. I almost brought it in to show Rich, but I track probably about 70 or 80 asset classes around the globe, and I can tell you what they're doing over the past week, the past 2 weeks, the past 3 weeks, and how they are trending. What is their momentum, and where to get in, where to go out. Also, the reason the process is important is to identify where you're going. It identifies changes you need to make so you can thrive rather than be fearful. But also it helps you maintain the path to where you're at and where you want to be. And so, Rich, I know we shared a lot, but if folks are curious about the process, give me a call because I want to help you choose the investments that, A, meet your goals, but also lessen your fear and actually help you retire in safety. So, folks, we're going to go to a break, and when we get back, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take that 50-year-old scared of all sorts of things and do a little bit of planning to help him design a plan. Give me a call, 434-316-0246. Catch you on the flip side.
It's Brian Kilmeade.
Speaker Kevin McCarthy is here.
Think about this. I have a family. I'm in politics. We never set up a bunch of LLCs while I'm in office. And when you're in a business, do you make sure 9 of your grandchildren get all the money as you're going through? My son and I have gone to dinner. I think we've been to Cafe Milano before, and he never got a Porsche the next day.
He didn't.
Yeah, and we didn't get $3 million from a Russian oligarch.
The Brian Kilmeade Show, weekday mornings from 9 to noon on WLNI.
I have a solve for that. It's what he does. Tommy Parmenter is the woodsman. His tree removal company handles all jobs. Other tree companies call on him for his tree climbing experience and expertise for the most complex removals. The Woodsman is a veteran-owned and operated company.
That's right. My team and I are top-notch. We can handle the scariest tree job you got. We're properly equipped and more than capable. I'm Tommy, the Woodsman.
And his estimates are your final price. The website is IHaveASolveForThat.com. IHaveASolveForThat.com.
And now, back to Purpose-Driven Finances. Here's Allan Molina with Serwus Capital Management.
Hey, good morning. This is Allan Molina again, your host of Purpose-Driven Finances and President of Serwus Capital Management. Give me a call at 434-316-0246. You can even text me there and shoot me a little note. Say, hey, Allan, appreciate the show. Let's get together. I haven't played the ad about going out to a restaurant. We can go.
Let's go.
Let's go. Wherever. A new favorite I have is downtown Cairo. It's right across from my office. It's really good.
Yeah.
The seating is rather non-glamorous, but it's really good food.
Good.
It's right beside Crisp.
Okay.
It's good.
Graves Mill.
Yeah, exactly. Graves Mill. But being conservative with your investments does not mean you are conservative with your retirement plan. Now, what I mean by that is very simply that a lot of times people will choose their investments based upon how much fear they have, fear of how the maximum amount they want to lose.
Mm-hmm.
But another thing that people need to realize is your investment plan needs to be managed according to how much you actually need. Because if you need a 7% return, you should not invest in things that give you a 3% return.
Which would be fixed income mostly.
Yeah.
Bonds.
Right.
Treasuries, things like that.
Exactly.
CDs.
And, one thing, we're going to go into down the road, a few other shows, is there are some things that produce extremely high dividends. I mean, extreme. Covered, their ETFs, covered calls, things like that. I mean, I've seen them 20, 30, 40%, but they're down 30. Come on, man. That's not going to help you anything, So, do you remember, Rich, the bell curve?
I do.
Just like Allan, we're talking about the bell curve. Just think of the Philadelphia bell.
Mm-hmm.
That's the bell curve. Now, the center of the bell is the perfect balance between feelings and needs when you talk about investment planning or portfolio management or financial, I already said financial planning. Here's what I mean. The center of the bell is the perfect balance of feelings, how you feel, your fears, your greed, your needs, but also, the feelings of how you can handle volatility, but also the needs of the return that you need in order to meet your goals and your dreams. Because I've already said, if you need 7% or 6% and you get a 3% investment, what's going to be happening in year 10, 12, 13, 14, and 15? It's going to dramatically affect your returns.
Right, because you're dipping into your principal.
Exactly. And if you outlive your money, that's never a place to be, a good place to be. So imagine with me, folks, looking at the Liberty Bell. On the left is a tail risk of not taking enough risk, and you don't have enough money for your retirement goals. Let me give you an example. $500,000. You've saved it. It's in your retirement. It's in your assets. Let's pretend you're so scared that all you get is a 2% return. At 50, the average life expectancy is getting closer to 80. So say in 25 years that's not a far stretch.
Mm-hmm.
At 2%, this is not taking any money out, which really isn't fair. But if you make 2%, Rich, every year, your total at the end is $820,000.
Over at the age of 80?
At 75. From 50 to 75,
okay.
If you get a 2% return.
It's not very good.
At 5%, it goes to $1.7 million. That's only 3 percentage points, but look at the difference.
It's more than double.
It is. And so what ends up happening is, if you were to take, because realistically in a portfolio, there isn't a tremendous amount of difference between a 2 and 5% return. On paper there is, in your account there is, but in the amount of risk there isn't. I mean, I'm trying to go from memory. Sometimes I shouldn't do this, but I'm going to try to do it now. I believe a 30-70 portfolio, the worst it's ever, going back to like 2005, I think the worst that went down was like 9%. That really isn't too terrible. I mean, if you're scared of your shadow, and I don't mean
in 1 year.
In 1 year.
Okay.
That's not too bad, because I think that was in 2008. 2009, it righted itself and it recovered. Now, the right part of the bell, if you look at the Liberty Bell, is taking too much risk. What I mean by that? What I mean by that is a concentrated portfolio. We've talked about the Magnificent Seven on here many times. It's down to about the Magnificent Two. Little rabbit trail. Apple is going to be taken to court by the Department of Justice in the next month. Right now they're going, I can't remember the name of what they call it, but their attorneys and DOJ has been meeting. I believe it's the Department of Justice. They've been meeting and ironing it out, but it's going to weigh on the stock.
Mm.
And I think Tuberville, a month or two ago, I think it's Tuberville, he actually bought $1 million worth of puts on Apple
Wow.
I think he's already doubled his money or something.
Wow.
So the reason I say that is don't have a concentrated portfolio of the Magnificent Seven. Because what if I told you that I'm expecting by the end of the year small caps to outperform large caps? It's an option. It could happen. But also don't have such a high beta portfolio. What I mean by that is so much in technology. Also don't have so much in utilities. Utilities are getting killed right now. So you want to have a balanced portfolio. And also don't focus only on dividends and interest. There was a prospect that I'm not going to name. It was somebody, and he had a financial guru that worked for him, and he said, "Allan, I like to get dividends on stocks that pay anywhere from 8 to 12%." And I said, that is not a good way to go, because what ends up happening is those stocks eventually fall, and that 10 or 12% that you made on dividends actually becomes a negative. Because if you get too high of dividends, it's just not a good thing.
Well, I mean, there's a reason why the dividend's high, right?
Right. Exactly.
Because it has to be for people to buy the investment.
Exactly. And something
because it's risky.
Exactly. And so, don't focus on Yale and Harvard did that in the 80s. And I mean, not the 80s, the late 70s. Once the economy turned, their endowments ended up underwater, and they had to fix some things. So what do? The first step is call me. Call me and let's just chat. Let's just talk. Let's figure out where you want to go, what you want to do, and how you want to get there. And then I can take my 20 years of experience and say, hey, this is what I've seen. This is the pitfalls. This is the exciting things. And then let's meet and discuss your fears, your goals, your needs. Because why does people have money? I don't know what the exact English setup of that sentence should be, but why do people have money? Why do you have money, Rich?
They work for it. They save it.
For what?
To buy things.
Right. Do you want to leave all your money to your kids?
Not all of it.
Just a little bit. You want to enjoy it.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Exactly. That's why we have money. Is so we can enjoy life now and going into the future. And so, folks, let's figure out what your goals are, your needs are, and let's get rid of your fears and develop a plan in order to get you where you want to go. Let's determine a strategy. Let's go through the process, determine a strategy, and then let's implement it. Sometimes it's implementing it over time. Because if you do a retirement plan for somebody and they say, you know what, I can't afford saving another $500 a month. Can you do $100? Can you do $200? And that's what I mean by implementing it over time. And then the second step is actually do it. Give me a call, 434-316-0246. Call me. Let's meet. I'm not a high-pressure sales guy. I'm fee only. I'm a fiduciary. And the better you do, the better I do. So, and I don't charge for financial planning. That's the easy part. Now, as we sit down, I've worked with so many people. I've worked with old people. I've worked with people who had a high age, but they were young. I've worked with young people. I've worked with all kinds of folks, single folks, married folks, divorced folks, widowed folks. So just give me a call, 434-316-0246. It's an easy process to help you achieve the purpose and plan for your life. And next week, we're going to deal with someone who's in their 30s. And so maybe you want to get them to listen and how a 30-year-old deals with fears and what fears that they have. Often it's around children and parents and things like that. But I look forward to next week, and I hope you have a blessed week. This is Allan Molina, Cyrus Capital Management, 434-316-0246.
Returns for illustrative purpose. This is not a suggestion to buy, sell, or use a platform. Only will a suggestion occur after a meeting to determine goals, risk tolerance, and time horizons. Investments involve risks and no guarantee of future results.